This brings us to a presentation which for most of you will be highly relevant because it's about data, facts and figures for which the industry has been waiting for a long time. For 10 years we didn't have any comprehensive data collection about the travel behavior and the needs and preferences of people with impairments. Finally, such a study has been implemented also with a funded, among other things, with the ICT John Sage or Wheel the World that will also be presented on stage here. They have participated here. A part of the valuable results are welcome. The entire study can be bought. Matthias Hickl will brief us on the major findings. He is the head of the German National Director Business Intelligence, and he will brief us on what the mobility and accessibility requirements of European travelers are. If you have any questions or comments while listening, you can drop a line us in the webpage directly. Mr. Hickl, a warm hand for you. Over to you. Thank you and cordially welcome from my end. I am specifically delighted to see so many online viewers and so many people in the hall also. So it's a really exciting topic that we can address today. As a matter of fact, well, it has been touched upon. There is not so much marketing information available on this segment. I'm talking in the jargon of the marketing experts. We talk about target groups and things like that and stakeholders and things like that. I hope it's okay for you. So this has been a joy for us to support this study that was prepared last year, last year, together with MMGI, which is a market research institution that is active also in Europe, and together with a partner from Great Britain, Visit Britain. So we compiled this study as a multi-client study, which enabled us also to finance it because well-done studies are expensive. So we collected the data with the support of so many partners: ENAT, Otto Bock, the German company for wheelchairs and prostheses. We had Sage Inclusion was also on board, and WTTC. So we had great support. Therefore, it's great to have this study. Well, as a matter of fact, this study addresses people that have special requirements in terms of mobility and accessibility. We cannot talk about all disabilities, especially not about cognitive impairments or neurodivergent impairments, but this sector is all in all so important that you have to get started. I have three portions that I want to address. First, the economic potential. It was referred to repeatedly already. It's a market segment which is economically certainly relevant, if you may say so. On the other hand, we want to address the practical requirements posed by people with limited mobility, and also the intentions. What is in the pipeline for the next time? The study is a very exciting read because it covers five European countries, the most important European countries. It shows you also the outbound target of this group. Why these five countries? Well, it's simply because the biggest volume, Germany, Great Britain, France, Italy, and Spain. It's a huge volume that is generated out of these five countries. That's why. Now the market size and significance. As a matter of fact, this has been a main target of the study. How many people are these? It was very exciting and interesting for me to see. It was an eye-opener for me what the percentage of population is that have a certain limitation. What's the percentage of travelers with limited mobility and also special requirements over the last 12 months? 91% of this target group have traveled internationally with. So this is certainly very well compared to the industry average. Even at higher age ranges, it does not decrease very significantly. Well, even in the older age group, we have a relatively high percentage. It's not just one journey, but several travels, almost half of European travelers with access will travel more than one. So, on top, 28% that travel 2 times or even more often. So, on the one hand, it is very exciting because it highlights the volume. On the other hand, however, it's very interesting to see because this average number of 2.1 journeys undertaken by people with limited mobility and with special accessibility requirements, 2.1, this average number of international leisure trips are also relevant in the day-to-day spending. So this survey taught us that for each travel, 2,815 euros are spent by people with limited mobility. 2,815 euros, significantly above the average, because the average for all travelers is 10,034 euros only. In terms of value, in terms of added value, it is certainly a very relevant key indicator. As to the volume, let me add another thing. Well, I have done the maths on the basis of the study outcomes. In a conservative calculation, the World Health Organization thinks that there are 135 million people in Europe that have certain impairments. With a conservative estimate, 50%. We have seen, actually it's 90%, but in a very conservative estimate it's 50%. So with a travel intent it would be 67 million. If you know, the outbound volume of European travelers is 600 million people. So the market share of people with impairments amounts to 10 to 12%, which is a key indicator that I find surprising in view of the market relevance of this segment. The spending behavior implemented by this group, well, it's significantly above average, geared towards transport and accommodation. If you compare it to the industry-wide average, we have hard-boiled data. If you compare it, well, accommodation and transport are the 2 top issues or top spending items. Then you need also other means on the side of your destination. So, however, it's clear transport and accommodation is significantly higher than on average. Another interesting economic effect is that people with special requirements in terms of accessibility often travel with an accompanying person quite often it's the living partner, it's the companion, or it's maybe a professional travel companion, or one's own children. This is a multiplier effect that in the end need to be taken into account. Yes, it's the traveler themselves, but it's also the accompanying persons that come into play, which is very exciting. And another very exciting finding is that the group tour is also very appealing. Let's put it, a very popular and quite often used format of tours. 52% of the international travelers with disabilities were traveling last year. It is expected to increase to 61%. So it will still grow. It provides more security or certainty, Okay, some people have been there, so they can tell us what it's like, and they can tell us, yes, it is accessible. Business travel, let me present this to you. It's highly relevant for Germany, for incoming Germany. We are the number one of business trips from Europe. 1 out of 5 trips is a business trip. This was a very relevant piece of information that 43% of people with high accessibility demands are business travelers. You would not expect this, but even in the business sector, it plays a huge role. Now, what are the special requirements to the travel industry? Well, one requirement is, of course, due to the transport. The airplane is the number one travel means, the journey. So more than the train or the private car, it's the airplane. These people have special requirements. It's highly relevant for the people that are traveling. The other challenges, well, in practical terms, quite often they come together with the transport means, but it's also human resources, the personnel. Well, it's a strong desire to find people who take care of these people with special requirements. So the employees need to be trained specifically, and they need to communicate at eyes level with the travelers. Now, once the guest has arrived, well, the number one priority is bathrooms. Then also wide doorways, so the measurements of doorways and hallways. These are outstandingly important topics. It's probably a well-known fact. Another things, this is very important for the people with high requirements for accessibility. When you are in the hotel, in the accommodation, the lift, the elevator is of course also very important. It's a must. Otherwise, without an elevator, things will become difficult. Then, very exciting to see, highly relevant information before the journey. The worst thing that can happen, that once you arrive at the hotel and you are not able, or you are not enabled to move around. So detailed information before the journey is key. Relatively simple things play a role. For example, the visuals. It's very easy to produce your own photographs. You can produce videos. A special role is played. Also, the experiences of other travelers in the past. So this is also our call on all of you who travel. Please share your experiences. Tell us. Let us know. How was it? because the authentic experience is very relevant for other potential visitors or potential guests. Therefore, it is an important topic at any rate. Well, it is definitely a very good option to make traveling easier for others. The travel intentions, and this brings me to my conclusive statement. I can say they have a very positive effect and the intentions are high. When do they want to travel? These people with special accessibility requirements? Well, it's quite often off-season times, off-season or off-peak seasons, or shoulder seasons, as we call them, just before or after peak season. So this touches upon many other aspects, because the usage rate is a very important indicator from an economic standpoint. To extend the peak season or the main season is economically also very interesting. Linked to travelers with special requirements for accessibility. Where do they travel to? Well, primarily to destinations in Europe. This is the biggest share that we see in terms of travel intentions amongst people with special requirements in accessibility. So then we have the long-distance markets to Caribbean, to the US, and so on, which was also quite surprising for me to see. Once you have learned that the requirements are high, but while the practical implication is not, or implementation is not so easy, well, you can gather that there is a strong will to take travel and to move. Thank you very much for your interest. I think this is a very solid database for the presentations that will follow, especially by John Sage, who will look at this topic from a practical standpoint. Thank you very much for your time and for your interest. Thank you, Mr. Hickl. Please stay here on the floor. Please drop us a line or also give us a sign by raising your hand. I see a raised hand over there. So who else wants to take the floor? Hello, my name is Roswitha Schlesinger. I'm a study travel or tour operator. I was for various years an expert for the Deutsche Bundestag. It is a pity that the UN Convention for People with Disabilities has not been implemented. I am a tour operator for study travels. I want, I would call them people with limitations. I would love to encourage them to travel more, because among other things, it's also the duty of the accompanying to take care of these special requirements. River cruises are very well suited, because even during city trips, you can take into consideration the requirements of these people. My experiences have told me, and I have shared these realizations also with my colleagues from the Association of Study Travel Tour Operators. We take care to pay tribute and to cater for these people with limitations. For example, just by walking at a slower pace. It's not only the elderly that have impairments. Quite often these are also people that have a broken leg or that have suffered an injury from an accident. So you see, they do not consider themselves to be people with disabilities, but they are limited in their mobility. So be courageous, be bold, be brave, and undertake bold adventures. That's my creed. Well, last year we had Christy Dusel. She did travel adventures with her wheelchair She goes skiing, zip line, water skiing. Everything is doable, provided you have the infrastructure and the accompanying person. Any questions to Mr. Hickl? Follow-up questions? I can read online. What is the exact title of the study? Could you please tell us the exact title? Thank you very much. I forgot about this. Well, the study can be downloaded. The concept is we want to support ENAT, E-N-A-T. It's the European Network of Disability and Tourism. Now, the study comes with at a price, but I have presented a large chunk of it. The major points will be available online. You can also buy it. The study title is Mobility and Accessibility Requirements of European Travelers. Accessibility Needs. The income will be made available. The price, what was the price? What is the exact price? 2,000 euros. It's not a secret. But the benefit will be given to ENAT. I have presented much content from this, only for those who want to delve in depth. We would be happy if the study can be or is purchased by others. So, any other questions, comments in the stream? There are no questions. From my end, for you as a person, what was the most surprising fact? The travel intentions. I would never have thought more than 90% of people for who it is difficult to travel. They travel regularly, many of them, not only once per year. This has been a great signal, a great finding that support is there, and that there are people who support those who have the intention to travel. And travel planning and accessibility is of the utmost importance. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Hickl.